His name was Ethan, and his world was a canvas of gray. He lived in a cramped apartment where the walls whispered stories of unpaid bills and dreams deferred. Each morning, the city's indifferent skyline greeted him, a stark reminder of the distance between where he was and where he wanted to be. Rejection letters littered his desk, each one a paper-thin monument to his failures. He'd pour his soul into his art, only to be met with silence or a polite no. Loneliness was his most constant companion, a shadow that clung to him long after the sun went down. A voice in his head, a relentless critic, would often ask, "Are you even good enough?" He would stare at his reflection, a stranger with tired eyes, wondering if the fire within him had finally burned out, leaving only ashes of what could have been. They say the night is darkest just before the dawn, but in that crushing darkness, surrounded by the ghosts of what could have been, dawn feels like a distant myth. The air is thick with the dust of forgotten dreams, each mote a reminder of a stumble, a fall, a failure. His eyes, hollowed by sleepless nights and watered by silent screams, reflect a battlefield of lost wars. Quick flashes burn behind them, a closing door, a turned back, a final, dismissive word. Each memory is a fresh turn of the knife in a wound that refuses to heal. The weight of it all is a physical force, pressing down, suffocating. He's folded in on himself, a fortress of despair with its king in exile. The world outside has faded to a muted hum, irrelevant and distant. Fear. In the epicenter of his defeat, there is only a profound, deafening silence. A single tear escapes, a rogue soldier abandoning its post, tracing a slow, cold path down his cheek. It's the final surrender, the quiet admission that the fight is over. The last ember of hope has been extinguished, leaving nothing but cold, gray ash. In this moment, he is not just at rock bottom. He is the rock, the bottom, the crushing depth itself. It is the end, or is it? Through a crack in the blinds, a single, defiant ray of sunlight cuts through the gloom, landing on his clenched hand. It's a tiny thing, a sliver of light in an ocean of shadow, but it's enough. His head lifts slowly, as if resisting an immense pressure, a flicker in his eyes, not of hope, but of something deeper, something harder, understanding. The fall wasn't the end. It was the foundation. The pain wasn't poison. It was purification. A slow, deep breath fills his lungs, the first in what feels like an eternity. His fist tightens, not in anger, but with resolve. This is not the end of his story. This is page one. They don't see the tiny shifts happening within. They don't see the quiet moments of reflection, the small, consistent choices made day after day. Growth isn't a single, dramatic event. It's the slow, steady work of building yourself from the inside out. It's the silent battles won and the inner foundations strengthened, brick by brick, until one day the change becomes undeniable. There seems to be a misunderstanding. The Target One section, which is meant to provide the stylistic example for me to imitate, was left empty. Without a target copy, I cannot accurately replicate the specific language style, narrative method, and sentence structures you've requested. However, I can still create a compelling video script based on your topic and outline. I will use a motivational, reflective, and uplifting tone that is common for videos about personal transformation. Please review the script below, and if you have a specific style example you'd like me to use, you can provide it for a revised version. Asterisk, asterisk. They don't tell you how heavy the silence can be. Each day felt like a battle I was destined to lose, a constant struggle against a current pulling me under. The world seemed to move in vibrant color, while mine was muted, gray, and overwhelmingly loud, with the sound of my own doubts. I was a stranger in my own life, looking in from the outside, watching a version of myself go through the motions. The reflection in the mirror wasn't a friend. It was a constant reminder of everything I felt I wasn't. I was stuck, overwhelmed by the weight of expectations I could no longer carry, searching for an escape that never seemed to appear. And one quiet morning, something shifted. It wasn't a loud clap of thunder, but a soft, internal whisper. that finally broke through the noise. As the first light of dawn painted the sky, I made a conscious choice to stop fighting the tide and instead learn how to swim. This was my turning point, a silent promise to myself that the person I was would not be the person I had to be. It was a decision to reclaim my own story, to turn the page even if my hands were still trembling. The journey ahead was uncertain, but for the first time it felt like mine to navigate. The path forward was built one small step at a time. I filled my days with new habits, replacing old anxieties with the discipline of learning and the courage to try. There were moments of failure, times when the old shadows crept back in, but each stumble became a lesson in resilience. I learned to celebrate the small victories, the finished task, the difficult conversation, the quiet moment of self-compassion. This was the slow, often unseen, process of growth. It was me, meticulously rebuilding myself from the ground up, finding strength not in perfection, but in persistence. Slowly, the world began to change. Or perhaps I was the one changing. Goals that once seemed impossible were now milestones I had passed. I started to walk with a newfound confidence, my voice steady and my gaze direct. Interactions that once filled me with dread now felt like opportunities for connection. The reflection in the mirror was no longer a stranger, but an ally, someone I was proud to know. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was actively creating a life I wanted to live, filled with purpose and self. Now, there is a deep and abiding peace. The silence is no longer heavy. It's a space for serene contemplation and gratitude. I find fulfillment, not just in what I've achieved, but in who I've become. This transformation wasn't about becoming a new person, but about finally embracing the one who was there all along. It was about earning my own self-respect, and in doing so, finding a sense of wholeness I never thought possible. And that is a victory worth celebrating every single day. Look at yourself right now. Are you where you want to be? Do you feel that restless stirring, that quiet whisper urging you to be more? Too often, we tell ourselves, tomorrow, I'll start that diet. Tomorrow, I'll chase that dream. Tomorrow, I'll become the person I know I can be. But tomorrow is a myth, a comfortable excuse that keeps us trapped in the present. The truth is, change doesn't happen in some distant future. It happens in this very moment. It begins with one small, brave decision you make. Right now, today. Don't wait for perfect conditions, for the stars to align, or for permission from anyone else. Your power lies in the present, in the choice you make to take that first step. Every great journey starts with a single stride. Every masterpiece begins with one brushstroke. Every victory is preceded by one defiant act of courage. So, what's holding you back? Fear, doubt, the comfort of the familiar. Those are just shadows. Step into the light. Believe in the incredible capacity within you to transform. You are not defined by your past. You are created by your present actions. Make today the day you rewrite your story. Make today the day you prove yourself wrong. Make today the day you change everything.